Hello, and welcome back to Mellohi, a DSMP podcast. This is episode 31, and today we'll be discussing Sam's recent lore, Dream XD, and the stage finale theory. As always, we refer to the characters by name specified when we're talking about the writers and try to focus more on analysis. Alright, welcome to the first episode of Season 2 of Mellohi.
Hey, nice.
So first off, we do have a guest this episode.
Hello.
Do you want to introduce yourself? Like our typical thing is name, pronouns, favorite Dream SMP characters, how you got into the Dream SMP, and any kind of fan content you create.
All right. I'm Dre, or Dree, or DR3. Go for whatever you want.
I always do a DR3 because I always think of the anime.
Yep, anything goes. But Dre is probably what I think of most when I think of my username, or dream of a game, DR3 of a game, DR3 AM of a game. Anyways, so my pronouns are they them, and I am a writer, artist, and kind of meta writer, but that was mostly unwillingly, and mostly known for dropping way too long threads on Twitter. C-Dream apologist. So my favorite character is very obviously C-Dream, but I also very much enjoy C-Sam. I very much enjoy C-Quackity. I really enjoy most of the characters, if not all, but it kind of goes by the base rules of the more fucked up the better. So
yeah,
let's go.
That's where it's at.
So you can find my content on DR3 AM of a game on Twitter and Tumblr, as well as Dream Team 3 with a 3 for each one of the E's on Twitter. That's my main art account. So you're gonna mostly find there a lot of incoherent rambling, but if you might find some people tend to stick around. So yeah, this is a really awkward introduction. I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
All the introductions are super.
Okay, so how did he get into the Dream SMP?
So there was this guy that kept showing up in my YouTube recommended, and I was like, I don't watch Minecraft content, and then he just kept staying there, and I'm like, I still don't watch Minecraft content, but then he just didn't budge. So I was like, fine, I'll watch this guy's Minecraft content. Actually, I didn't even realize it was the same guy that was on my recommended, but I'm like, you know what, this Minecraft video sounds interesting. And dang, I kind of liked it. So, cue me binging all of Dream and George's videos for 2 weeks and making an account on Tumblr, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, they stream, and not only do they stream, but they're streaming their second stream on their 1.16 survival world. That seems pretty cool. So actually, was it even the second? I think it was either the first or the second, and I think I might have come in halfway through the first, because that's when they were like, why not mess around on this survival world, and we got in there, and that was the Dream SMP, and now we're here. It's been a year and a half later. This has completely consumed my life. Send help.
No, you're good. Yeah, no, I mean, same, like, similar, like, it's just across the board.
ADHD go burr.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm one of the, I guess, older fans in the fandom as far as the Dream SMP goes. I've been here for a long time, watched all of the first Dream Team Survival World streams live. It was definitely a fun time then, and it's still a very fun time now.
Honestly, just the idea of, like, when you really think of it, the majority of fans are pretty recent, like, joined in, like, 2021. And that's so weird for me, like, thinking that, like, I subscribed to Ranboo last November, okay? Like, I subscribed to him, like, right after he joined the Dream SMP. And that is just weird to think about, that the majority of Ranboo's fans, and there's tons of them, subscribed to him and started watching him way after I did. And it's just weird for me to think about.
What blows my mind...
Like, I'm not part of, like, the first Ranboo fans.
Yeah.
from like before he was involved in DSMP when he's just getting started out, but like I'm still like one of the first.
What I remember with that was there was this kid named Rambo that kept showing up on my TL, my timeline. And I'm like, okay, he seems pretty interesting. And then one day he joins the Dream SMP, and that's kind of when I started following and watching his content as well. So it's like, yeah, like I wasn't one of the first fans, but I definitely followed people that were watching him before he joined.
I have this thing where like, because like outside of the Dream SMP people, I don't really pay attention to that sphere of like Minecraft YouTube stuff that much. Like I'm more inclined to the more like Hermitcraft side of Minecraft YouTube outside of the Dream SMP specifically. So whenever they add someone, I'm like, most of the time I'm like, I've got no idea who this person is. Like I've heard them mentioned like a handful of times. I think the only thing I knew about Boomer before he joined was that clip of him like talking about how he uses he they, and I'm pretty sure that's like the only thing I knew about him.
Yeah, I definitely
But yeah, so I'm just like completely clueless whenever someone new joins because I don't know anyone in that sort of sphere.
Yeah, I think
outside of the people on the server.
I think it's funny because like do you remember Foolish's first YouTube stream? Does anyone here remember that? That was when he joined the Dream SMP. He was streaming on YouTube.
He didn't have a Twitch at that point, and he actually made a Twitch after that.
Yeah, he was streaming on YouTube when he got added to the Dream SMP.
Twitch time.
So, yeah, and then he switched over to Twitch, and now he's like pulling a lot of viewers. It's pretty crazy. I mean, entirely deserved. His builds are insane.
I remember when he was like. The first time I've ever heard of Foolish was before I got into the Dream SMP, and I remember him as the reactor to, whatchamacallit, Dream's Manhunts. It was great.
Yeah, I didn't even know he existed.
I definitely like, there's this, YouTube video of his, like, sort of like a series, which is like Minecraft Manhunt, but villagers.
Yeah.
And like seeing how long a villager can survive.
That's fun. He didn't even have that much building content on his channel, I think, at that point in time. I don't think many people knew that he was even like a builder.
Yeah, I think it's just like, I remember everyone being so surprised when he was such a good builder, because his main thing was like speedrunning.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think he's only done like a few, like 1 or 2 speedrunning streams since then.
Yeah. It's really crazy how much the Dream SMP has grown. I mean, like, I remember, back when the Dream SMP first started, like, I remember, like, there was, like, that one stream where I think George started streaming, and he went to the ocean to get coral for the lake, for the community house, and then Dream and Sapnap got annoyed with him because he was muting too much to read donos, so they both started a stream to pull viewers away from George because they were annoyed at him, and all 3 of them were streaming that night. I also remember.
Oh wait! You want to thing I remember from around that time? That's kind of funny because like it's kind of obscure, and not many people can remember it. But like the obsidian bunker that Tubbo built under the New Lemberg podium.
Okay, I'm.
Does anyone else remember?
Yeah, I'm talking before that. I'm talking like early SMP.
And it just never.
But yeah, I remember that bunker. Speaking of that.
Oh, sorry. I thought you said like Philza or something.
Oh no, I was talking about I was talking like Dream George and Sapnap when they were getting
I have
like
bad Wi-Fi, by the way. So if I ever mishear anything in this podcast and it's confusing, it's because my Wi-Fi is bad and like people keep cutting out to me.
Yeah, I was talking about Dream, George, and Sapnap when they were like at like 1K viewers, which is pretty crazy to think about now. Like, you know, MCC just finished, and like the entirety of MCC pulled like several 100,000 viewers. It's pretty insane.
It's insane.
It is, and it's crazy how much of the Dream SMP has like been part of that, you know. So, anyway, does anyone have plans for what we're specifically going to talk about today, or do we just kind of like freeform this?
We usually just wing it.
Yeah, all right, winging it's how I do things. That's how I do my threads.
I wanted to talk really quick about recent lore that we've had.
Oh, yeah. Let's go.
And then talk about the staged finale theory and how it's been proven correct, and maybe some of like the evidence behind that. And like how people came up with the theory, because there's been a lot of people saying that they feel like it came out of nowhere when there was actually a lot of stuff hinting towards it. But first, let's do the recent stuff that happened. We've got stuff with XD, and we've got stuff with Sam.
Oh, I am
Sam.
We've got a little bit of stuff
Our-
with Hugh and Aaron.
Beloved and our behated, our dearly detested character Sam. Oh,
And that was so funny because
I
like he
adore
has
you
his
so.
stream, right?
He had
And I
his
watched
stream where he's
that,
trying to paint
and it's
himself
late,
as, like,
so I go
a
to sleep. But
sympathetic
I'm like,
character.
I feel so sad for him. And then I wake up the next morning to all the people who watched Antfor's stream.
I think that they
And it's
executed
like,
that.
oh yes, Sam was gaslighting Bad Boy Halo.
Yeah, I think they executed that very, very well.
That was
Because
very well done, actually.
The point, because like from
It's
Sam's
really
POV,
cool because it shows the contrast between how Sam sees himself
Yeah.
and what he's actually doing.
yeah, and I think like Sam wanted his character's POV in a stream, obviously. That's like
Yeah.
part of his streams and part of playing his character. But he also had like the content creators have enough of a sense of their characters. They have honestly a very good sense of their characters, and they know that with these characters, you can't just like you can't like just wave away what they've done with like an I'm free, right? Obviously. And the issue is, I think that I think with the content creators are very aware of this. I think when writing the story, they're very aware of this, and they really hammered that point in with these streams because we see character Sam's POV. And we see his point of view of himself. What he does is what he needs to do. Everything he does revolves around this warden role, revolves around the prison, revolves around Dream. And even so, we have this whole like stream that shows his point of view, that shows how desperate he was throughout the prison break, shows how much it affected him when Dream was gone. And then we see at the end, he's like, maybe
I'm free.
Maybe this could be freedom for me. And then we are hit with like a complete and utter slap in the face of what it looks like from the outside. Because Sam is an unreliable narrator and has always been an unreliable narrator. He's a liar, but he also convinces himself of his own lies. So, it's being the warden is a burden to him, but it's also a position that has given him power that he does not want to let go of. Like, as much as he thinks that he is free from the burden of being the warden, he still falls back on that position of power, and it shows. So when we look at Ant's stream, he is no less the warden than he was before Sam's stream. He is still just as much the warden in their eyes, even with the prison empty and even with himself denouncing that role, because he is his freedom
His entire
doesn't mean
reality.
anything. His freedom doesn't mean anything to the people around him that he is lied to and he's abused the trust of and he is gaslighting and he is manipulating, because to them he is still the warden, because the warden is no more something that Sam can take off than any other part of him. That like the warden was never only about the prison. It was never only about Pandora. It was always about Dream's complete and utter control over Dream and that feeling of power that it gave him.
Sam's.
Yeah, Sam's feeling of power over Dream, right? That's what I said?
I think
So-
so, yeah.
No, you said Dream's control over Dream.
So it's like, he can say that he's not the warden. He can say he's free from that role. But from Ant and Bad's POV, the guards of the very prison that, like, Sam was the warden of, what did that change? Literally nothing.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
so...
It's ironic because he's actually literally a warden still because he has Michael. So it's not like he gave that up at all. Metaphorically, figuratively, literally, like, he's literally still a warden of some, like, kid he has as a
Exactly.
prisoner.
Yeah, he literally kidnapped his, like, toddler to use as
And
a
like the prison's
blackmail.
still there. Like he can always lock someone else up
True.
Exactly.
if he gets the chance.
Exactly. And I think someone else has pointed this out. I don't know if it's a different Tumblr post, Discord, I don't know, I've lost track of everything. But Sam... So Ant and Bad quit being prison guards. And Sam is, like, really incredulous about this. He's like, what do you mean you quit? Dream's gone. Like, as
So this
if...
goes to show his viewpoint of the prison. The prison was never about locking other people up. It was always about his absolute control and power over this one person that he had.
And I think that's something really interesting about character Sam in general, because his character is not just about institutional power. It is about institutional power, obviously. His power derives from the institution of Pandora's Vault, but the corrupting influence of his power and how he used his power specifically derives from how he used it against one person in particular. Everything he does ties back to Character Dream in some way. His locking up of Character Rambo, I mean, besides Connor is an anomaly. I don't know its character. I don't know where to put Connor in this. It's still a show of abuse of power. It's still a show of abuse of power, obviously. But everything when
his whole thing is like he's like the role the server.
Yeah, but like post Prison Break, like there's Sam saying, I don't care if you guys all leave. All I care about is getting Dream back in prison. It is about Dream. It is personal, and it's never not personal. Even though like for example, Bad and Ant overall, it's still a professional relationship.
Part of it is like the whole sunk cost fallacy thing. Like he's done all these terrible things with the goal of keeping Dream locked up and under his control. And now that Dream's out, how does he justify doing those things if they didn't work? If they didn't keep Dream in the prison?
Yeah. He also believes that, Oh, you can go. Sorry.
Sunk cost fallacy. No. Sunk cost fallacy is like it could be the title everywhere of this SMP at this point.
Fallacies are everywhere on that Dream SMP, and it's not just sunk cost. It's the idea that he believes in a fairy tale. He believes in a fairy tale that like Dream is the ultimate evil and the only source of evil. So if he were to lock him up, then he has fixed the problem because he's obsessed with fixing the problem.
I think that's actually a good way to segue into the next thing that we wanted to talk about, which was the stage finale.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Stage finale. Finale.
Okay,
canon,
so we've talked about it before on this podcast, but basically, Dream has this whole thing where he acts more intimidating and stereotypically villainous around Tommy and some other people as a means of manipulating them into doing what he wants. And part of that was the disc confrontation being planned. He planned to be put in prison. Punz was on his side all the time. And we have been theorizing about this for months, and it's finally been proven correct.
Fucking finally. Take that, you aunties.
They're so mad. It's
honestly, I still, like I've said this before, I'll say it again. I don't get how people are going like, there was no evidence. Like, no, you just didn't listen to the people who proposed the theory.
There's an entire subsection.
I can get if some people were hesitant because there wasn't really an answer to why he would want to go to the prison, and there still isn't. But that's because that's a mystery in the future. That's something that hasn't been revealed yet.
I'm just gonna say, the guy who kept a secret plan for 10 months through literal torture and abuse is probably not going to, like, he reveals things at his own time. Like, we're not expect to be able to parse him out.
Yeah, it's gonna be the season 4 finale. That's when we're gonna find out what his plan was, right? And through doing that, he's going to introduce like this whole other mystery.
Oh my god!
And that's going to take till the end of season 5 for it to be revealed.
And this is how DSMP becomes the new supernatural in length.
I think people are so mad about the theory on the side of like where they're confused because if stage 3 is real, which it is, then that means that like things like exile happened for no good reason, right? But that's how this works, and I think that they're pissed off for the wrong reasons because I'm like most people do things and there's not a good reason behind them, even if the goal is something altruistic.
I mean, like, from a certain perspective,
like it's just a means to an end.
From a certain perspective,
it is not
very good writing that so many people were surprised, and that's why I really don't get people saying
they're like
that it's bad
it's
writing.
Not bad writing because
the best theories, right, are the ones where, like, the best plot twists are the ones where
no one sees it coming.
Most of the readers, most of your audience don't realize, they don't predicted ahead of time, but a small portion does.
Yeah.
Because that means that you've laid the seeds leading up to that theory, the foreshadowing. It makes sense enough that people figure it out ahead of time.
Yeah.
But it's still surprising for most people, and it's also going to be for the people who theorized it. They're going to feel great as well because they were right.
Yeah.
Well, on the other hand, if you have something that nobody guesses, it means that it probably doesn't make much sense, and it's a much more sensible, like, answer to that question. Or you haven't laid your foreshadowing right.
Yeah.
Or if everyone guesses it, then it's not much of a twist, and you made it too obvious.
Yeah. I mean.
And the best plot twists, like this confrontation being staged, come from the balance between laying enough clues that some people figure it out,
and then other people,
but keeping it obscure enough, using enough red herrings that most people don't realize.
Yeah.
Like a good example of this in another media is Steven Universe, where there's this real, and this was like something theorized from like season 1 basically, but through the show there was like this proof, this like evidence leaning against the theory. So a lot of people who originally believed in the theory started to doubt it, thinking something else was going on.
And then that's just,
And then it was shown to be true anyway.
Yeah.
And it was explained the inconsistencies.
Yeah, and that's a red herring,
And the red herrings.
It's hard to balance those, but...
So obviously the people that stuck with the theory were very happy that their theory was right.
Yeah, it just felt right, like when they were like, oh, it's staged, I was like, okay, yeah, like, it just felt right. I mean, because otherwise, you have to accept the fact that, like, otherwise you have to be like, why the fuck did it happen?
Really, I think, like, I'm really hoping that what we see going on is more people looking at the staged finale and going, okay, so I thought that this theory was wrong, but it's not, so clearly something about my understanding of the story of this character is wrong somewhere, and going back and figuring out that he has this whole thing of pretending to be this stereotypical evil villain when he's not, and using that as a way of controlling people into doing what he wants them to do, like putting him in the prison.
Yeah.
And I do want to give, like, as much as, like, obviously the stage finale being revealed was, like, awesome. Like, and obviously there's so much evidence leading up to it when you really look at it, that it's just, like, stage finale is the logical answer, it's the better answer. There was so much effort put into the writing, and I really give so much credit to the writers for pulling it off, because again, 10 months, like, is no joke, and they pulled it off amazingly. And
even, like, among people theorizing that it was staged, there were, like, all these, like, variations. Like, some people were saying, well, maybe the confrontation was his original plan, but being put in prison was, like, his plan B.
Yeah.
Like his backup plan. And then there were some people saying, well, does Puns know about this, or did he trick Puns into betraying him on purpose? And now we've, like, got confirmed how exactly it all played out.
Yeah, and I do want to say
that this, like, was the original plan, that Puns was in on it.
Yeah, I do want to say, despite, like, obviously, I am a stage finale truther, have been for a couple months now, and even, like, at the beginning when I did doubt it, sorry, Apple, even when I did doubt it, because I did doubt it, I was really conservative about what I believed for a while, mostly because of the pun stream, I'm not gonna lie. I will say that, like, it was always definitely a possibility, and there was always a lot of, like, effort put into figuring it out.
Yeah, I think for most of it, I was in the state of, like, there are multiple sort of routes.
I always thought that part of the finale...
that was how I approached, like, writing stuff, like, writing fanfic and writing theory is consider this as, like, multiple options, and then for fanfic, choose whichever makes it angstiest. For theories, choose, like, well, don't even choose, like, examine the theory that you have through whichever one, like, this finale, like, genuine? Is he just, like, really not well mentally? You can go through that angle, and you can theorize through that angle, or it was a stage, theorize through that angle.
Yeah, and I want to say...
And it's like, now you've got, like, one specific route.
I do want to say, I want to give genuine finale believers before like the reveal more credit, because I have seen a lot of arguments that are like, obviously it's staged. If you think otherwise, you're kind of like ignoring canon, or you're being dumb. Like, I've seen that, and I agree that if you've been,
I think at this point when it has been confirmed.
Yeah, I'm talking about like before the confirmation.
But like, yeah, beforehand, like there was good reason to doubt.
Yeah, exactly. That's my point.
Whether it was staged or not.
My point is, like, I think that staged finale, the only way for you to really concretely believe in staged finale is to analyze Character Dream's character. I think that from any other angle, you could have believed in genuine finale. I genuinely believe this because genuine finale intentionally plays into the audience expectations. It does. It is written to feel satisfying. It is written to play into the themes of season 2 with attachments. Which is a Tommy-centric theme, but felt like it applied to Dream 2 because of specific things that happened from Tommy's POV. Like, this is the deal, right? Like, this is the deal with Dream not having a POV and Dream changing so much about how he acts between points of view. It would be like genuine finale did feel right to a lot of people, and I can't blame them for it because it was crafted to do that.
Too perfect.
It was crafted to feel that way. It was like literally made to work in a way that people would want to believe in. Like, for example, like
in canon
out of
and
universe,
out of
because it's
it.
like the whole thing about stage theory was that he needed to trick Tommy and the rest of the server into believing he'd been genuinely defeated. So if you're not really like looking into what Dream's been doing on other streams, if you haven't seen that clip with puns, if you haven't seen him go around and like talk, if you've only watched it through like, if you haven't been following Dream for like
honestly,
the entirety of season 2, then it's going to feel real because that's how he meant it to be. He wanted to make it feel real.
Exactly.
To the
I feel
people he
like
was presented
the point of being like,
Can we just make like a list of clips or something of like important Character Dream moments? Because I know there is a list.
Apple's on it.
Like, I know there is a document with clips of his character in general, but like vital character moments, and it's only like a handful of them. And just say, like, if you want to analyze his character, watch these clips, please.
I feel like it's hard. Because
that'll take you, like, 10 minutes.
That's the difficulty with Character Dream's character, in my opinion, is that he puts on so many fronts that you have to, like, in order to find what's genuine,
you have to chase him down.
it's not even that. He's impossible to chase down.
There's a very similar thing with Wilbur.
You have to look for patterns in behavior rather than the face value emotions that his words incite. For example, like, after he escaped
just
prison,
as a general, like, just don't trust what he says.
Yeah, but like even then, like the best lies include like a grain of truth, and if you just didn't trust anything he said, then there's nothing
general,
to
if
analyze
he says,
either.
Like, X to Tommy and then he does Y,
yeah,
then he probably wasn't being truthful.
Yeah, his actions are always the most reliable. Like, if you want to analyze Character Dream, you have to analyze him by actions first, words later. But even with his words, because he says stuff, obviously, a lot of what you're going to have to analyze will be through words. When you analyze him by his words, you have to figure out how well they actually align with his actions. And that's like the other thing with stage finale. Like, so many people who went into stage finale and ended up feeling that it was genuine for months had a lot of vital misunderstandings of Character Dream's character. For example, before stage finale was revealed, a lot of people were like, what does content creator Dream mean by saying that Character Dream is reserved? Doesn't he go on evil monologues every 3 seconds? Didn't he reveal his entire plan in stage finale? No, not in stage finale, in the finale, and then give everyone the way to defeat him? And yeah, he did. He was lying. And that's the deal, right? Like, his Character Dream now, obviously.
Honestly, like, it does feel like sometimes people, like, they say that he's lying when it's convenient for him, and they say that he's telling the truth when it's convenient for him. And often that's, like, complete opposite. Like, they say, oh, he was... And, like, this is, like, a consistent issue I've had, and I've, like, made posts about it. I've probably talked about this before, but it's, like, people think there's like this idea going around the fandom, right? Specifically, it's very popular among like character Tommy apologists that Dream shows his like true self to Tommy and only to Tommy.
That's so stupid.
Why would he do that? Why would he show like one of his greatest enemies who he's constantly lying to and manipulating his true self, and not like the dude he trusted with his most secret plans, the friends he has had for years?
Yeah, like the only time he's ever been super honest around Tommy was when he was stuck with the kid for a week.
Like, and that's like another pet peeve I have, is people saying like, oh, the Dream Team are never actually friends, because like you're taking that out of the early SMP streams.
Yeah, that bothers me.
Which are just the content creators being friends. So it's like saying that the content creators aren't really friends.
Yeah, agreed. That bothers me a lot.
Which it doesn't jive right with me.
It does feel weird.
Champ.
Like, they were friends back then, they were genuine friends, and then their characters kind of evolved from that, meaning that they were friends.
Yeah, it's really, I don't like that, I will say. I do not enjoy, for example, going back to Character Dream's tunnels and saying that they were evidence of him stalking and being obsessive of character Tommy from the beginning, because Character Dream as a concept did not really exist at that point.
Too much
exist until like
character
mid-October.
Like,
Character Dream as a concept does not exist until somewhere around mid-October, I believe.
Yeah, it'd be like if I went back to community, like when Sam first joined the SMP on like day 2 of the SMP, and tried to use clips of that to prove that he was abusive. Then I would like, I think that's not good analysis.
Get eviscerated.
I just think that's bad analysis. If you're analyzing, it should be based on canon. And when there are things like, so like for example for the tunnels clips, like, was there any intent by either content creator to show obsession at that point? I don't think you could say that there was at all. I think that, honestly, continuing into the current day, there is no evidence that the characters have the content creators
really
are trying
just Dream wanting a faster way to his base.
Yeah, it's you know, Dream uses the tunnels a lot in like early streams just to screw around. Like, he had this whole deal where he would just kind of play Weeping Angel as character to mess with
there's this whole freaking like hypocrisy thing with that argument, with the fact that like Tommy, right, he built the sewer systems and like explicitly said, I'm building these so I can spy on people and build them to everyone's houses. So like, if you're gonna take Dream building tunnels as canon, take Tommy doing it as canon as well.
I just think,
because Tommy explicitly does it to spy on people. Dream
and like neither of
those
those things work as canon.
Yeah,
because both of those are content creator stuff just done to be funny or convenient.
And I think there's a difference between taking actions as being canon and applying ideas such as obsession to them. There is a degree of like uncomfortable, like, there's a point where I think like the fandom has to back off because things are getting uncomfortable, and that includes obsession takes, in my opinion. I don't think they're conducive of good analysis. I don't think that they are necessarily very based in the text. But anyway, how did we even get here? I was talking about genuine finale, wasn't I?
Like, there is some like very creepy takes on Tommy and Dream's characters that like honestly, if this was like any other media, I would probably like be interested in that, because I like dark fiction, I like psychological horror, I like that kind of stuff. But when it's in a situation like that where they're so closely tied to their real life counterparts, but a lot of the early stuff wasn't really role play, it's just weird.
Yeah, also it's just a reminder, not safe for work. Not safe for work doesn't only encompass, you know, like
sexual scenes.
Sexual scenes. Like, there are things that are NSFW, including stuff like gore and intense psychological horror, and, you know, creepy relationships. Like, there are boundaries, and I think they should be respected more.
I mean, like, the whole like NSFW means not safe for work, and it's basically used to describe if you were at work
Exactly.
Would you want your boss
To see this.
looking over your shoulder and seeing you looking at this or reading
that's
this
the
or watching this or
exactly.
whatever?
Anyways,
It's not safe.
I will
work.
say, my goodness, this is that section of the fandom is probably what I least like having discourse about. So going to sharply drive this car off a cliff. Sorry about this. Moving on to honestly, hot take of the day. If people want to see a more personally driven character that does bad things because of a specific person, look at character Sam. Because character Dream does not do things based on a single person. And I think that's an entirely fair point to make, because
he has very wide...
He
doesn't do things because he has personal grudges. He does things not because he wants to, but because he feels he has to. Like, he needs to get to his goal.
Responsibility.
I mean, I think he still does some stuff because of personal grudges, but, like, they come second to his greater goal.
Revenge for character Dream, at most, is only going to be a bonus. Like, and I feel like this is the whole deal. Like, character Dream is not a personally driven character. I think that I can say that pretty safely. Just looking at his behavior after the prison arc.
He just jumps right back into the grind.
Just something actually to mention about that. It makes this for this like interesting contrast between Dream and Tommy's characters, where Dream is a character who cares very little about sort of personal conflicts and has this greater goal, cares about like the piece of the server, and then Tommy's the complete opposite, where he cares very strongly about personal attachments and disputes, but doesn't really care much about the server as a whole. Like when Dream escapes, other people are concerned about the server, he's concerned about himself and his friends. I think this is interesting that they're characters that are very much complete opposites.
Yep.
Hello, and welcome back to Mellohi. Glad to have you join us for Season 2, and hey, if you're new, then welcome to the first Season 2 Mellohi Spotlight, where we shout out a content creator from the DSMP and Minecraft YouTube fandoms. Today we are telling you all about an amazing artist called Noir Triste on Twitter. Noir is an artist who has made some very impressive artwork and animations of the DSMP content creators and their characters, particularly a lot of which has been focused around Character Dream and his content creator counterpart. Which is, a fitting choice for this episode. Some of their work includes Dream Team animations and comics, and then as well for the character and lore side of things, they do comics about characters Dream and Puns, Dream and Techno, and most recently a really beautiful animation, the song Enemy by Imagine Dragons, focused on Dream and the jailbreak from Pandora. The artwork in it is really beautiful, with a unique coloring style, which involves a lot of sort of oil paint or watercolor paint sort of reminiscence. Especially in the scenes of Pandora's vault and lava, it's just very, very colorful and very beautiful. And you should definitely watch it. You can check out Noir at Noir Triste, spelled NOIR_TRISTE on Twitter. And hey, if you have any artists, writers, analysts, or other type of fan content creator that you think deserves a chance to be on our spotlight, feel free to let us know on our YouTube comment section, our Twitter account, or by joining our Discord server.
Alright, let's see, what else did we want to talk about? Dream XD lore, we got some.
Oh yeah, XD, my beloved. We saw him with Foolish. We have a really interesting relationship, actually.
They're friends.
They're
not quite best friends.
Dream XD and Dream's characters are canonically trans.
Let's go!
Basic recap. Foolish finished the statue. It looks phenomenal.
It looks amazing.
Dream XD apparently does not like Bad Boy Halo at all, and Dream XD has decided to, as a gift to Foolish, given him immortality. Limited
edition. We've also had some interesting lore with Callahan and character Callahan and XD, with the implication that Callahan was once XD's pet with quotation marks, because I don't think XD still has really an idea of what a pet is. Pet for XD just seems to be XD lesser being. That. I think pet, we can safely say, means like a lesser being of some sort. And there was also, I think, an implication where XD...
And possibly like someone who did what he said, some kind of follower.
Mm-hmm. I think we have an implication as well where XD might have given Callahan his powers, considering after Foolish asks that, I think XD looks at Callahan goes into creative mode, and then Callahan leaves. I think that's what happens in that order. Yeah, he starts flying, basically. So I think it's also implied that Callahan was perhaps
also
given his power from XD. XD Death Note arc.
Also, XD rules the end, canonically. So that's been a theory that's been going around for a while.
Yeah.
With his defender of the end thing, but it's been confirmed he's in charge of the end, which kind of, I mean, like, I had that theory about the end portals and the new server, but that's been completely debunked because there's a different portal to get to the new world, and now we know that the end definitely exists. So my theory that the end doesn't exist was wrong.
And also, I think it's fair to say that, like, as far as XD's realm of power, I feel like we don't really have that many answers. All we know about the limits in his power is that apparently it takes power for him to manifest in a voice and a physical form. Takes a good amount of energy for him to do so.
And he gets energy from souls.
Yeah, and he gets energy
from souls. Oh wait, that might be
yeah.
actually the in-canon reason why he disappeared when he was giving his gift to Foolish. Because he needed to conserve power.
Possibly, yeah. So, also, what are we thinking?
When in reality, it was probably like content creator dream going off to Coded.
Yeah. Content creator dream, our beloved.
But there is like an in-universe explanation, and I like that. That's my headcanon for why he disappeared.
It would make sense.
Because he had to conserve his power to give the gift.
Yeah. Also, what are we thinking about XD egg connections? Because I feel like there's quite a bit there, as well as this weird thing.
XD is young.
XD has no idea what time is. Let's put this clear.
He's gonna say something like...
XD says words like
fucking... In all my billions of years of life, I dropped these things to millennia ago. They're not... No, that did not happen. He has no sense of time. He's just picking big words to express how it feels to him. Because if you've only existed for a year is gonna be a fucking millennia to you.
And to be fair, like XD's, let's go over what XD's
rules over. He doesn't know
how
long a week is.
Yeah, let's go over what XD rules over. The end, which has no visible signs of the passage of time. Dreams, which are commonly known to have, really weird feelings of how much time has actually passed. Limbo. Self-explanatory. And the fact that he's been implied to be connected to Carl. Time travel. So, any time word, I think that around XD means basically nothing.
You just throw it out the window, honestly.
And he's even said before, I don't have a calendar when it came to...
Also the fact that the first human he saw was Dream.
Yeah. I feel
Unless Dream's some sort of immortal, which I don't think so,
so
because
like either
Dream really likes normal guy Dream, so...
Yeah. I mean, there's so many different possibilities for what XD could have done with, like, actually with that book. It could have been he dropped it, like, like a couple months ago, and then, like, doesn't know what a month is, and is just throwing out words, time words, because they make him look cool. Like, that's entirely possible.
Didn't he mention, though, didn't he say something like, it might... I saw someone talk about this, like, cool. He said that the Okay, let's talk about the second book, because I think that's pretty important, and we haven't really talked about it, so... We should probably talk about it for anyone listening to this who hasn't watched the stream or caught up on it yet.
Introduces the concept first by, have you seen Death Note? He's like, well, I haven't seen Death Note, but I saw it in dreams.
Character snap
what happens to that guy when he watches one anime?
Yeah. So he starts off with talking about Death Note, and then when Foolish asks, is it like Death Note? He says, Note. Not really.
He doesn't know how long a week is, but he's definitely watched Death Note.
Yes! This dude! Man... this is why I say he's young. Everything he's learned from is from other human beings that he's observed on the server, but he hasn't observed them for very long because otherwise he would know what karaoke was, because they've done karaoke on the server. Anyways, he talks about the book, and he's like, well, so I dropped 2 books because I got bored, and he's like, one of them's been found, but then the guy who found it got locked up in a box for a while. I got bored again. But he also talks about how it's not exactly like the Death Book, and that the 2 books have different powers.
Yeah.
So we're pretty sure it's a slash-kill book here.
Yeah, but I wouldn't be surprised if it has more than just slash-kill. So, like,
yeah,
I think we've seen that, like, godly powers in this SMP are, like, really, like, weird. And they can kind of go in a lot of directions. So we have no real idea of what's going on. And, of course, these 2 books could, like, mean something in conjunction with each other. Miraculous style, ladybug, ladybug, black cat, wish for whatever. And if that is the case, I mean, I think this existence of the second book is interesting in that it gives a lot of room for supernatural stuff to happen on the SMP, which is interesting because, like, that means that you're lessening the restriction of Minecraft mechanics, and there's already...
Actually, no, I'm learning something about the books. Recently Eric said something about writing something for the lore that's gonna affect the entire server.
That could be.
So this could be that,
Could be part of it, at
especially
least.
since we know that Foolish and Eric have worked on lore, and obviously this stuff is like
Eric's had
something
some
Foolish is
really
involved in,
cool
presumably.
ideas for the supernatural element of the Dream SMP. So, like, that would be so cool.
Eric's definitely contributed a lot to the more supernatural side of stuff.
Supernatural stuff's hard to
So it's
incorporate.
possible that they were the one who suggested this.
But it gives a lot of
Speaking of supernatural, I just want to say Dream Hunters is fucking canon. You guys, no one can argue that Dream Hunters wasn't canon because it has been brought up multiple times afterwards, even when they were like, it's been brought up about the egg room, Fundy's brought it up before again, and okay, it fits the timeline too, because Dream Hunters happened on October 8th. According to Joy, who I trust more than the wiki, because the wiki said October 25th, but I think that's just when they uploaded the fucking video that's been edited.
It could have been the second Dream Hunter thing. There were 2.
Well, they happened the day after. It's one happened, and then the next one happened the day after.
Did it? I kind of forget.
Yeah.
I know that there was...
The first one happened, his first Dream XD, so it still fits, because if Dream XD came into existence from the Dream Hunter stuff, it would still fit the timeline, because Dream does not switch sides until, I believe Apple said the earliest was November 6th was the first time we hear about his deal with Schlatt. So that gives Dream XD plenty of time to get bored, drop a book, and plenty of time for either Dream or Schlatt to find it.
Dream XD's true ADHD core gets bored in like a minute and a half. Like, Nance probably dropped those 2 books within his first 10 minutes of existence. Let's be real here.
Yeah.
But like, I think that Dream Hunters was never decanonized. The only thing that was ever like not really the only thing that really isn't like canon is this whole idea of Dream being possessed by a Dreamin', which I think is like there's not enough canon evidence to really go anywhere with that, which was a fandom theory for a while, and I don't think it's like Dream and Dream XD have a connection of some sort, but saying what exactly
Dream XD has said that he is a part of Dream during the very first official George lore, so that is very deliberate.
Oh yeah,
and I don't think it's going to be a retcon.
My point is more like the Dreamin' theory, where it's like Dream is, possessed by a Dreamin' that isn't completely in control of him. Like, that's the one where we don't really have any evidence for that.
I don't think that's real. What I mean by Dreamin' Hunters as being canon, I mean the event where they go through that stuff.
Oh yeah, that's never been canon.
Possession might not necessarily have been canon. It could have just been something the Dream Hunters thought was happening, but wasn't actually, because they're idiots.
That's never that. Yeah, Dream Hunters as an event was never decanonized. All it was for a while was a loose end. I think a lot of people didn't.
We know that Dreamins do exist, though.
Yeah,
I think Foolish has mentioned it a few times.
Dreamins exist. That's been mentioned a few times. What was actually going on with the Dream Hunters really, I don't think really was expanded on until XD and possibly the egg, because the egg did show up in the old Dream Hunter's room, and the egg and XD also have decent amount of connections.
They have the same nightmare ringtone.
Same nightmare ringtone, same I'll give you what your heart desires, same sort of like weird, like there's a couple moments in a recent Foolish stream where XD uses a voice that sounds remarkably like the egg. It's not just his tone of voice, but it like becomes corrupted, and like I don't know if anyone's actually reversed it and really seen if it works. I don't think it does, because if it did, I think someone would have said something. But it sounds a lot like the egg did when it was reversed. So I think that's a fair, like the idea of the egg and XD being connected makes a lot of sense, especially considering how XD has. I think that XD's been connected with Prime before, right? I feel like he has. Yeah.
I don't know if that's... No, he hasn't. He has not been connected with Prime.
He hasn't?
Prime,
okay.
I don't think Prime as a god exists, or at least I haven't seen any...
I don't think that Prime exists as a
or
god.
Clips of them saying,
like
actual lore clips of them saying Prime is a god, and it wasn't just them making a bit joke about a Twitch Prime.
No, yeah, I agree. My point is more like, we know that holy water from the Prime Church has power in the Dream SMP. That's canon. Why it has power, I guess, has never really been expanded on.
Isn't the god of Prime Dream? The Prime Church Dream, wasn't that what they decided when they built it? It was,
but that was, you know. I mean, to be fair, he does that whole thing where he just starts like rising in the air and then gets like slash kills himself. that happens. I don't know if how that relates to possible XD stuff. I feel like with, again, supernatural stuff with the Dream SMP, it's hard to say in any particular direction until we're given more hints. But I think XD being connected to Dream Hunters is very much possible and probably canon, just considering how he mentions being hunted once and also makes references to, for example, being part of Dream, being a part of Dream, seeing Dream first as like Dream being like the first human he saw. All of these things like are interesting.
Okay, so I think we're a bit low on time, so just real quick, do you want to talk about Dream and Aaron meeting in the community house?
Mans was a frightened cat.
Yeah.
Seriously,
he's got
though.
shiny shoes.
He got shiny shoes.
He got new shoes.
Yeah, he got
a crap ton of gapples and had absorption the entire time. I wonder what that means.
He was running before he saw Aaron. He was just running around the main area of the DSMP.
I think I saw people like analyzing the VOD, and they've mentioned that he ate the golden apple before he saw Aaron.
Yeah, he had absorption long before he saw Aaron.
I don't think he's eating them all the time, but I think while he's in the main Dream SMP area, he's on edge.
I think that him eating gapples without him eating gapples in general shows a degree of, I think, paranoia, and also understandable paranoia, and also perhaps after effects of the prison. We won't really know until that's really talked about, which I don't think it will be.
Also parallel.
But it's definitely interesting because him having stocked up that many gapples.
Oh wait, is this like the in-universe standard Dream SMP universe response to getting out of an abusive situation is eat golden apples?
I mean,
all the time.
I think gapples, it's a feeling of, obviously they mean that you take a little less damage, they mean that you regen, they mean that you've
got extra hearts.
You have extra hearts. It's a feeling of safety, and it's a feeling, and regen in general kind of implies the idea that you're regenning from something. So if you've been consistently, for example, low on health, then the idea of stockpiling on golden apples and having them on hand to eat at a moment's notice is very understandable. So it's obviously just good, I think that Dream eating the golden apple before seeing Aaron is significant because content creator Dream does not play like that. Content creator Dream does not eat golden apples as a food source. Man's hoards. He does. He's a hoarder.
He's a hoarder.
He's a hoarder and he's a survivalist, and he's he has a very good handle of Minecraft mechanics and knows very well how much he can survive before, like, without having to need, like, to eat or heal. And we see this in Manhunt. We see this in him playing Sands of Time. He does not play overly safe. Character Dream was playing overly safe there. He was running immediately. He was hiding. He was, like, when Aaron goes up to the room to see Dream, he starts spamming his shield, and then he actually, like, rotates a bit to be even more behind his shield before continuing to spam it. So that's very unlike. First of all, it's not aggressive in the slightest. Everything there felt very defensive, even skittish, and it's considerably unlike how content creator Dream plays. Content creator Dream plays much more aggressively if he wants to fight, and if he doesn't want to fight, he's a lot, like, his character still moves around in a lot more, like, confident of a manner. He's not going to be
casual and relaxed.
Yeah, he's not eating gapples for no reason. Like, even he even, like, comes off as cocky because he just tanks damage and doesn't really care sometimes because he knows he can survive it. So the way character Dream was acting there felt significant. It felt off, I think, and we'll have to see if the patterns of behavior continue. But I think it's fair to say that he was not acting the way content creator or character
You'd expect him to act after having
before.
just escaped a very bad situation and being #1 enemy on the server.
Yeah, he's behaving. You know, he's behaving in a very defensive and skittish way, which is understandable for his situation, but also shows the after effects of what we know and have known and continue to learn was a extremely brutal and awful situation. Anyway,
I think it can't get worse, and it just fucking gets worse.
It does.
Obligatory Punk mention: there was a Punk B statue with that can blink that XD did not like, so Foolish had to destroy.
It blocked XD's view of his own statue. Go figure.
Yeah.
07 Punk. The frick when God makes your friend take down your own statue, man.
Also, Aaron demolished Foolish in PvP.
Oh, he did.
So that was pretty fun. Any last words?
Thanks for inviting me. Sorry that's a bit awkward, but it was fun.
I want to go more in depth on, like, everything, but yeah.
I could probably talk about Sam's character alone for like an hour, so.
Maybe we do an episode on him alone. We'll invite you back.
We'll see.
Oh, wait, actually, I think we already did an episode on him alone. If we do another one.
Alright. Thank you for inviting me once again.
Anyway, yeah, bye.
Bye.
Well, thanks for listening to the 31st episode of Mellohi, and we hope you enjoyed it. If there's any topic you'd like to hear us discuss, feel free to leave a comment or find us on Twitter at Mellohi Podcast. We can also ask us questions, or just get updates about new episodes. We also have a Discord server that you can find a link to in the description. See you next time!